fortunate that we have made a connection with an individual that I think can teach us a great deal. There's a lot of history around us, a lot of living history around us that we don't always pay much attention to or think about. When Mr. West and I were talking about all kinds of different connections we had with things, we found yet another connection that he was involved with, that we were involved with before we knew each other. And that was working with the Gullah Geechee communities along the east coast of the United States and in the Bahamas. How many of you have been to Andros? Any of you guys have been to Andros with us? A couple. We have a few people have been to Andros. And one of the things we always do when we go to the Andros Island in the Bahamas is visit some of the local communities, one of which is Red Head. And in that community live a bunch of individuals who have the same background as a number of the people who live on the islands from South Carolina and Georgia, this Gullah Geechee culture. And the fact that we've made this kind of three-way connection is pretty amazing. We're here today to welcome the Queen of the Gullah Geechee Nation, Queen Quet. And in order to give her a proper introduction, I'm going to introduce the person who's made all this happen, Mr. Weston.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gaiman. It was a very generous introduction. Just a few thank yous before we move to the main event, and I just want to thank all of you for being so attentive. This is a really exciting moment and a true honor for us to have Queen Quet in our presence. She is known around the world as the head of state, chiefess of her nation. She has relations with the nations of Ghana, Mexico, anything you can think of. She has met the heads of state of these nations, and so it is an incredible honor. I had the opportunity to meet her at the Underground Railroad Conference where the National Park Service did a series of interviews through the oral history program at the University of Florida. I'd like to also recognize her family. First, to recognize her mother, Carol Lee. Thank you for being here. Her brother, Ronald. And our videographer, Kumar. Thank you for being here. There will be a reception this evening from 6 to 8 in the gallery, which coincides and runs concurrently with an outstanding event being put on by Mr. Ponzio, Mr. Stahl, and Mr. Bone. I'd also like to thank Dr. Eiley. That's called the Southern Soul, the art gallery you guys have seen already. Tonight from 6 to 8, Queen Quet will also be at that reception. So please come by and meet her in person if you don't get a chance to see her this morning. There are a couple of other people to thank very quickly. I want to thank Representative Clovis Watson's office for helping support our activity. Also Paul Ortiz and Sheila Payne, also the Alachua County Democratic Party, also Sarah Cott and the Young Republicans here at Oak Hall, all put together in order to make our event of the reception and the assembly possible. So please give them a quick round of applause. Mr. Weston left his reading glasses at home, so please bear with me. There's some official things I need to read. Queen Quet Marquetta L. Goodwine is part of a long and strong Gullah Geechee lineage that stems from St. Helena, Palawana, and Tatar Islands on the North American side of the Atlantic Ocean. She is the founder of the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition, which is the premier organization on Gullah Geechee preservation and continuation. Queen Quet is a published author, computer scientist, lecturer, mathematician, historian, columnist, preservationist, and archivist. In August 2008, Queen Quet was one of the first of 7 inductees to the Gullah Geechee Nation Hall of Fame. She received the Appointed Spirit Award for her leadership and for being a visionary. Queen Quet has not only provided historical-musical presentations throughout the world, but was also the first Gullah Geechee person to speak on behalf of her people before the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland. Goodwine was also selected, elected, and schooled by her people to be the first Queen Mother of an official spokesperson for the Gullah Geechee Nation. As a result, she is respectfully referred to as Queen Quet, chiefess of the Gullah Geechee Nation. She is the head of state for the Gullah Geechee Nation. If you would please all rise. It is our
did that shit. Then I get for see this shit. Carrying the boy now. Got so much out of recipe and chilling in the young boy. But then I never throw it in. Huh. Try to tell me, throw it with us. And they yet is to give it a black. Not throw it. Tell. That is for the vicious way. Yeah. Even them for them when their teeth weak. How can you lie? They would know that. That's why they would have called me such a thing. Then later, try to keep me near. Throw them down for that house. The blow from the shop. And they're clean the cut. They did it. Found soup. Yeah, I see the every time. Try to see the falling is the sun. Some is Ivo, Mandika, Maleke, Gora, Geechee, Mandy, Tammy, Ibi, Ibibio. I tell you the truth. What are they going to get you? Call on him. Gora, Geechee. I need you out of the thing. When they throw you up, what's it about? Keep me here. Call me slave everything like that. Ha! That was enough for you. God, remember that morning? There is just like a shop. Look out for the family. Some of them earphones there that morning. And I wonder why. And I yelled it. I cried to keep down. But then, it was shop. The cracky Peter let me know say. Well, honey, we get it, I see it, it's still in there. Somebody be going, you know. This shop place called the flood. See, yeah, see. It's something to get away from you. Why, no. John, let's tell you. Any church. He going back for free. Give it life. Beyond. Listen until we get away with it. Yeah, they say that out there. A place called Fort Negro. None of us a place named called Fort Negro. We don't say one day we'll find it. Then again, they say, some man say that tall needle, say, go on across the big water there. You know, I said, water to bring me, what I going to take me back. So we glad we get to see the family come across it. Remember, see, they're eating that. Gather together. They can do so much out of the rest of the time. They had to fix it.
Told us we needed to start talking like this. So, we gotta let someone think we did. Some of our family members, hey, Sister Glenn, cousin, how are you do?
Oh, fine. Good to see you.
Ready to see how to do, girl.
Oh, wonderful.
Great God, you don't take up the macaroni that crack it in? You can't help yourself?
What am I do? That's all I hear?
So where you there now? You down in that Florida place?
Yes.
Oh, great God. Yeah, pull up my seat.
Amelia Island.
Lord have mercy. I hear it, but that woman named me, you know. But I hear it, is she not crack it in like this?
No, Spanish.
Oh, that over true?
Italian, one of them.
For true? So what you say that, ¿qué pasa? Is it come and stop? That what you do?
That's before my time.
Or that 400 times?
All I know what they talk like that.
And talk like motherfucker.
That's right.
Well, girl, I might know. Well, I couldn't even know, say, at least understand who you know.
That's right. 8 flags from where I'm from.
Yeah!
8.
We need so much of flag for?
They can't figure out who want to own that.
Oh, because they know who they are. Oh, okay. I'm glad we didn't get for one.
That's right. One is a,
One for your people.
that's right.
What's it? We beat Gullah Cunneckshun, 90 people.
Anointed people.
Well, you know one thing? I don't stand when you say the people kind of crack at you, but say, can't understand who you are and how much, or who won this year and all kinds of things like that. We ain't got time for all that foolishness. But you know, that almost the same thing happened with me. Because you know, when we come here, you had the Igbo, and then come the Lincoln, Yoruba, Gullah, Geechee, Mendi, Temi, Fiji, all kinds of others turn. Then they get you, they had the Kusabo, the Yamasee, the Gisto, they done you. Then we start familiarity with them. Then after they start familiarity with them, and then there's been a fight with them on the plantation, and they're going for freedom, they start for coffee Seminole. What? Yeah, like, so how much a name gonna go have?
I tell you.
Seminole. Then, when the children left, can they go on in Florida? Some go on across yonder, back across, and yell after a while. We yell it that the church got his own village. What? And the next side, because Andrews
Is that right?
got a place called Red Bay.
What?
Call himself Seminole down there. And they're going to Geechee over there. Then they tell you, say some of them are going in Mexico. You talking Spanish just now?
Yeah.
Say we're going in Mexico, call them a school. There's some other rest come back out Mexico in the Texas, did it in Oklahoma, and they call them Black Seminole,
All them new people.
Afro Seminole, all of them doing it.
Oh.
So how much a name you have for hat? It's a time, man.
It's the time.
Well, you know, you don't care how much all the rest of the name people call you, you know, one more matter than one that one of the answer to them. So I was so glad for yesterday, God be being people blessed by God.
That's right.
And you know that all the rest of people who try to tell we don't talk about religion and wanted all of us to talk the way that you do now since you've been down there in Florida for quite some time.
That's right. But when you talk about that red rice,
Go ahead now.
they understand.
Oh, they know what they're red right.
That's right. When you talk
Look
about
at
the
me.
shrimp or grits,
Okay, they know what that shrimp grits. Don't get that yellow grits now. Great God. Ooh, yeah, why you bring them up? Ooh, I'm going to get that yellow grits. Ooh, that yellow grits. And then you have that yellow grits, and then you got some good old shrimp that you don't cast that net and draw in and gather and get that big old black skillet right there. And then you put that thing in there, and great God make that gravy so nice. And put up on top that yellow grits. Ooh, great, there, Jesus. Yeah, you ain't gonna walk after that. But you better go right work. Great, then I want people to say, have something stick to your bone.
right?
Say, how make it strong. But when you're going out, showing it work. But we come from some hard-working people.
Sure enough.
And,
Hard work.
and all through the Sea Island from Jacksonville, North Kakalaki, all the way to Jacksonville, Florida. And whether it was them children who go on into the mainland, call that thing low country. You know, all the way to the St. John River. You know that St. John River do a plenty for we people. Because plenty of we from Carolina and get to Florida and then we had that St. John River. It in a rough way, life on top of it, yeah?
That's right.
He never got to a fort. Some in a sing that song and thing that do this shit and wind down. I can remember that one and still doing the prayers house.
Yeah.
When it say, get away, Chile Jordan, get away, oh Chile Jordan, get away, Chile Jordan. I want to cross over for see my Lord. Well, who that yonder dressed in a white? I want to cross over to see my Lord. It looked like the children of the Israelites. I want to cross over to see my Lord. Well, who that yonder dressed in a red? I want to cross over to see my Lord. It looked like the children that Moses led. I want to cross over to see my Lord. Well, who that yonder dressed in black? I want to cross over to see my Lord. It looked like the children that turned back. I want to cross over to see my
my Lord, and get away till the Jordan. Get away, oh, till the Jordan. Get away till the Jordan. I want to cross over to see my Lord.
Yeah.
Yes, Lord.
Isn't that somehow we got a little bit of yelling?
That's
And Noah said, it's safe to get off the plantation. Or, no, you better go on back. Trouble ahead of them. But when the other rest of people who've been trying to slave them, they get it that they say, yes, sir.
Right.
There's happy over there tonight. They'll be out in the field in the morning.
Yeah. Singing.
Yeah. They're doxy in the morning. That same old dry pigment that I keep remembering their time. This year. See how we come.
Yeah.
Thought till we make a deal get a pick this year.
Yeah.
All the 100-pound bag tied to your waist. Ain't care how big it is. Ain't care how sharp it is. They're making for make at least 100 pounds a day. And some now women go and pick 300 pounds a day. Some man couldn't pick but 100, and some they all pick 300. And can you imagine? You got a 100-pound tie around your waist and a big tie around your breast.
How they do?
Yeah, I tell you, it's something. And then they turn around and try to tell you we ain't did nothing.
Come on.
Now you know better than that.
No better than that.
That's why the elders tell me, but they're meaning for you.
That's right.
God.
Yeah.
All that time we did together in our fields and things of work, all that time we done put together, we culture and things like that. Know how to learn how to crack the piece like this shop.
Yeah.
Know how to make the food and things like that.
That's right.
Know how to sell and things like that.
That's right.
Crack what we put together.
Sure did.
Just like in a body.
Yeah.
When you're strong, you're tight. Hold together.
All right.
Ain't care what storm coming. We've been together.
That's right.
Thank God for that.
Thank you.
But you know, nowadays some of the children act like we ain't fussing no way ancestors them they come from. Ain't no nothing about the Gullah Cunneckshun.
Nothing.
But thank God for this young man, Carter G. Woodson.
Oh, yeah.
Because when Carter G. Woodson come along and said, we want to have Negro History Week. It started for London world, not just for Gullah Geechee, but all the different African people and what they contribute to the world. Because for that, they said, since we ain't been to write the thing on the paper, said we ain't do nothing. But after they started writing down our story, they couldn't say there was no history amongst people of African descent. Because now here was this celebration of it. And you know, it's been a long time coming. Because we ancestors was in this land from 1670s all the way to 1926 before somebody realized all we had done. Ain't that something? And I sorry for sick, but some ain't realized yet.
They don't know.
Don't know at all. But you know, sometimes when you go away from home, that way it is. People change you. People tell you, don't remember what you left behind you. But you know what them elders say? If one ain't nowhere under to be from, one ain't going nowhere under to grind. One word, Sankofa. The children upon the island say, go back and fetch it. So again, I'm so glad you come home. So you can take a little time to go back in your culture. God bless you. God bless you. Be safe out there, yeah? Thank you, man. Tell Mama that I say, hey, okay? Okay now. Take care of yourself. Get that package out of that kitchen now.
Thank
Say,
you.
have something for stick to your bone.
Thank you.
Okay then. All right. Love you now.
Love you too.
Yeah, I tell you. Sometimes make you wonder. If people change, why are they changing? What are they changing to? Who are they changing from? Just because somebody else says you're not who God made you to be, you try to become who they say, so are you now making them your God? Because in our culture, in our community, people told us that nothing our ancestors had brought had any value. While at the same time,
calling us black gold. Now, I don't know how you don't have any value on gold, but anybody got any gold they want to leave with me, I'll take it. But so, call us black gold. They call the very rice we worked in Carolina gold. They built the infrastructure of the colonies that became the United States of America because of the sale of black gold, black cargo, then Carolina gold, indigo, sea island cotton. And yet, it was the African knowledge that knew how to harvest these crops. The Africans that were first kidnapped were the blacksmiths that even made the tools to clear the areas, to make the trees before they could have a plantation. But yet, when I looked at their words for it, they call that engineering. They call that science. That takes knowledge. That takes skills. A lot of people flunked math and science in school when I went. So for somebody to know how to actually melt iron, then smelt it, and make it into the shapes that they need for a job in a land that they've never seen before, and then be able to build up things that could then be transported around the world and sold on markets the same way they had been auctioned on markets. I think takes some ingenuity, some intellect, some intelligence. And to me, that's really where the value is. So see, I would never want to just take what somebody said and change because they said I had to. I always knew that there was something else to somebody telling you not to be who you are. You need to find out that they know who they are. Because when they do, they have fun with getting to know who you are. But in our community,
Folks knew there were just some people ain't got it all here. So they let them believe that they had gotten rid of their language, that they don't speak that way at all. Be like, how you doing? How's everything? Great, God, kind of trifling people these you didn't understand that talk. But ¿qué pasa? ¿Cómo está? You don't understand that either. Je parle français. Huh? They laugh. Good afternoon. Good morning. Morning. Oh, they understand morning. They understand that. So, when people come into different communities and just because that community doesn't speak the same language that they spoke, they said, well, the language that you speak, you need to be stripped of it. You need to have it taken away. You need to actually discard it. You shouldn't use it because it's not the same one we use. And they told us that was education. They told us that that was the way we needed to change ourselves, to become someone other than who we had been all along and who our ancestors were. And even as the generations went on and films started to be made about the South, they would always have our people out in a field working without any shoes. Never considering the fact that St. Helena Island, South Carolina, which is part of the Gullah Geechee Nation, was where shoe lasting was taught, and which I'm a native of. So I would look at these images and these Hollywood depictions and wonder, well, where do people's shoes at? Because if they were making shoes on the island, you think they're going to make the shoes and give them all away and don't keep nothing for their own selves? But it's about imagery. It's about depiction. They say a picture is worth what? 1,000 words. So can you imagine what a motion picture is worth? Probably at least 1 million, right? It gets all of the wrong words in the wrong minds in the wrong places, and when people see it, then they come tell you, you can't be Gullah Geechee because you got shoes on. You can't be Gullah Geechee because you actually know math and science and you know about computers. You mean y'all have electricity? Yes, it's 2014. But for some reason, they don't believe that our culture could evolve, that we could survive chattel enslavement, that we could survive the Emancipation Proclamation, which actually happened to be read also in my county, on St. Helena Island and on an island called Port Royal, that is in Beaufort County, South Carolina, 151 years ago at this point. That document was first read to the world where we stood. Our people had already become landowners of the very plantation lands that they had been enslaved on, growing this stuff. What was this? There we go. Say the whole thing.
Sea island cotton.
Sea island cotton. What's this stuff? Rice. What kind? I told you all day what kind. What kind?
Red.
Ain't red rice.
Yellow.
Not yellow rice. What did I say has value? Gold. So say it. I heard somebody say, what?
Gold rice.
Carolina gold. So can you all say that? Carolina gold. And what kind of cotton? And what was that third cash crop? Indigo. Sea island cotton. Carolina gold rice. Indigo plantations, where our ancestors had been enslaved before and were listed as property alongside the bags of cotton, alongside silverware, alongside shoes. They now became the owners of that land. In 1862, when auctions were taking place, when big shoes were starting, things like that. When what war was going on in 1862? Right, the U.S. Civil War. That some Southerners still call the War of Northern Aggression. All right, they do. But here it is, that all these years later, as people commemorate, some celebrate the Civil War, many have left out the stories of the Gullah Geechee men and women who were the 1st South Carolina Volunteer Regiment, who left out of those fields to go and fight for their very freedom. They left out the stories that they had built upon of people like Denmark Vesey and Gullah Jack, who were the ones that fought for our freedom before that in the early 1800s. And Cato, as they renamed him, Jemmy, who was the leader of the Stono Rebellion, who led the Angolans to end up here in Florida at a place called Fort Mose, and where many of our ancestors who took that same route southward from Carolina, out of those Carolina gold rice fields, down through what was then called the King's Highway, y'all call it 17 and A1A now, and made it this way, that they didn't all remain in La Florida, that many of them eventually sang those songs, became the oarsmen, the boatsmen, that went across and ended up in Andros, that ended up settling red bays, and today are called black Seminoles or Seminoles on the island, but still cracking deep like the Gullah and things like that because they know who we've been. You see? So they still hold on to their language and their traditions and their culture. They still make the baskets. We still shout together. We do what they call rushing down there and shouting up here. But still that circle of connection is always there. So as we celebrate, what's this month? That's right, it is February and it is Black History Month. Those both are correct, all right? And so as we celebrate Black History Month in February in the U.S. because it's celebrated in October in England, it is always an honor to be able to celebrate my own culture and to celebrate it in new places like this, especially coming to a place called Oak Hall, since we have live oaks, we have the angel oak, we have wonderful oak tree-lined driveways and roads throughout the Gullah Geechee Nation. And so I'm blessed to be joined not only by my family members today, but by our representative for the Assembly of Representatives for the Gullah Geechee Nation, who's a native of Florida, Glenda Simmons-Jenkins. Come on, front of the porch. Because these children have been on the porch
that 100 children joined me this morning. I don't know if you got time since your bell ring for a question.
We do.
Okay, good. The headmaster said it, then it's on. All right. So now, do we have any questions before y'all have to go back to class? Well, I know y'all would prefer to be in class anyway, right? They said, oh no. They were like, let's keep it going. That was a quick answer. Y'all understood that one, huh? Any questions or comments? Don't get too personal, you might get an answer. Yes, sir.
What's the population you would estimate?
Can I ever leave a place without that question?
I'm just curious.
Everybody's curious. He wants to know what's the population of the Gullah Geechee Nation. The Gullah Geechee Nation goes from Jacksonville, North Carolina to Jacksonville, Florida, and 30 to 35 miles inland to the St. Johns River. Now, as a computer scientist and mathematician, I always give this caveat. The people who came up with this number were socioanthropologists and linguists, okay? When I checked their data pool, they had at least a 50% margin of error. And this was at least this was probably 13 to 15 years ago now, that they estimated 500,000 Gullah Geechees only on the islands of South Carolina and Georgia. They did not encompass all the rest of the area. So right there, I knew they were wrong. That's at least 750,000, based on what I looked at. They pulled it from census data. Most of us don't fill out. Okay, so that's the problem. And the Census Bureau themselves missed entire islands at times. So that was another issue. So there is at least 1 million Gullah Geechees that live in the Gullah Geechee Nation. And that does not count people in the military, people who live in urban centers elsewhere, and so on. But I always get that question. That's the $1 million question. So you can drop the check in the basket up there.
Just follow up. So, how many would you say in the Gullah Geechee Nation are actively working in preservation or learning the language and making sure that you can
Keep it going.
Keep it going.
Right. Out of the people, how we're doing it. He said, I have a follow-up. He's a reporter. He says, I have a, but it's 2 or 3 questions. So it's interesting. It's a wonderful question. He wanted to know how many out of that population that I believe are actively preserving the culture, what I call continuing the culture, actually, with learning the language and keeping the traditions going. I would say maybe only 60% actively, I would say, and I don't think they know it though. They're actively doing it without knowing it. The other 40% are still the retirees. They're of a generation of Gullah Geechees who have been educated in the public schools and the missionary schools that were taught that the culture is not of value. So they don't do anything active in it. If they live it, they just happen to slip and say a few words here and there, right? And she said, and those of us in Florida don't actively.
We don't know. Yeah, well, we don't understand that there are some traditions that we're keeping, and many of us don't understand that we're Gullah Geechee. So that's one of the issues in Florida, is making sure that everyone who is a part of the culture understands that connection and that link.
Right, and North Carolina's the same too.
That's right, because North Carolina and Florida being bookends, the migration, the transitory nature of how Gullah Geechee people got to those states influenced their proximity to the other culture, and that's where you get some dissipation of the language, and it becomes Geechee the further out you go.
Right, absolutely. So what people might call de-creolizing as far as the language goes, but also as far as the traditions go. Because you have a lot more interaction with other cultures at that point. And so when you say, how are we doing it? It's by living every day. It's also by helping to awaken Gullah Geechees that are in many of our audiences. This is a stop on the Gullah Geechee Land and Legacy World Tour for the Gullah Cunneckshun and I. And we do these awareness tours every year, not just as fundraising vehicles for a lot of work to help people keep their land, and to build more institutions to educate about our culture, but also to awaken Gullah Geechees that often come to these programs thinking they're coming to see somebody other than themselves. And then by the end of the program, they go, oh my God, my grandmama had talked like that. Oh God, Queen, you look like my first cousin. Where you from? And then come and find out we knew it first cousins, that kind of thing. So we're living it is the best way to continue.
Mm-mm.